It's Mauricio Mejia Live. Entertainment guru, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, author, and speaker. It's Mauricio Mejia Live. Bringing to you real people, real day-to-day life experiences, and real business opportunities. If you dare to step up. Do you have what it takes to take it to the next level and become who you are truly destined to become? Decide, commit, execute. Join the thousands of viewers around the world and become a part of the conversation. Mauricio Mejia Live.
Here we go. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, it's on. We're back. It's Wednesday. You know what time it is. You know what day it is. It's Mauricio Mejia Live, season number 2, episode number 7. That's right, episode number 7. And man, the show just keeps getting hotter and hotter, and we keep dialing ourselves in and getting better every week. So got to thank the production team, got to thank the whole production behind the scenes, and got to thank our guests for making the time to be on the show, and especially because it's live. So, you know, once it's live, and it's on. So welcome to Mauricio Mejia Live, season number 2, episode number 7, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube from our studio in downtown San Jose, the heart of the Silicon Valley. We have a great season planned out. This season we've lined up exciting guests that are in business, real estate, political, people in politics, stocks, fitness, entertainment, you name it, and we're bringing it to you. We're bringing it to you fresh and exciting. Super good conversations every week. So before we get into any of this, we got to hit our hot topics. Now that COVID is now starting to wind down, the vaccine is out, and people are getting vaccinated. So if you haven't gotten vaccinated, make sure to jump in and make your appointment to get vaccinated. I know there's multiple versions, and we're not going to get into it, but we want to, again, welcome that the doors are opening for a lot of businesses. We want to definitely start supporting our local restaurants. The indoor seating is now opened, so make sure to start visiting these small businesses and restaurants. They've had one hell of a year suffering during these times, so we got to make sure that we're out there to support in wherever part of the world you're at. And again, we want to thank everyone that's watching from around the world, especially those that that are on the other side of the world watching us. Anyhow, schools are reopening too here in California. We had a big thing. The governor jumped on board and started to open up schools here in California. And again, that's a big thing. Getting our kids back out of the homes and back into a school setting. It's important because it also helps them to get out and interact with other students and other kids and other just interaction. Period. We're creatures of habit, and we interact, and that's how we grow. So excited to that schools are reopening and the world is starting to to open up. Next week, we have a special guest from Punch King. I want to say thank you to our boys, man, that have definitely have stepped up, and I'm looking forward to the partnership that we got coming up. Another thing is masks. Make sure that while we're getting out of this pandemic, that you wear your mask. We're supporting a cause here, 86C19. All proceeds go to hospitality industry, which is a restaurant industry. Anything that has to do with hospitality, you get to also sponsor. You can go to their website, 86C19, 86C19. I'll make sure that we put this up on the on our comments. Make sure that also if you have any questions or comments that you jump in there and put it down. Also want to give a big congratulations to my boy Rob Owens. Man, he's opening up multiple stores for BumpBox. You can visit him on bumpbox.com. Man, this thing has gone bananas. You got every superstar, every athlete. NFL, NBA, everyone is getting every major league sport is getting a bump box. So make sure to check that out. So we're gonna dive right into our guest tonight, and I'm really excited to have our guest and to introduce him tonight. Earlier today we had such an amazing conversation this morning, And it was just exciting because it was the conversation is probably going to last just as long as the interview tonight because we just got so into it, and you can feel the passion, you can feel the energy, and again, I'm very excited to have our guest tonight, six-time world champion, 4 different divisions. He goes by the name of Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Now, before I bring him on, Robert the Ghost Guerrero is a 6-time world champion boxer. He has held it in 4 different divisions, or we go weight classes, and it's the IBF featherweight title, the IBF junior lightweight, the WBC, WBA, and WBO titles. I mean, damn, this guy had all the belts. If you Google it, you'll find pictures where he's carrying all his belts and so forth. So I'm very excited to bring him on board. We do know that when he was young, he was getting trained by his father, who was also a former champion, amateur champion, who introduced Robert and his 5 brothers to boxing as a youngster growing up in Gilroy, California. Now, I have the pleasure of training every morning with Ruben Guerrero, it's been now 20 plus weeks that I've been training up and down, and it's gotten out to the point where we're actually I could start feeling the pushback. And I was sharing with Robert this morning, I'm like, man, it's a different world. It is completely a different world, and I'm looking forward to having this conversation tonight with him and him sharing his experiences and so forth. So without further ado, I want to bring on board Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Robert, what's up, man? How are you?
All right, how you doing, Mauricio?
Good, man. Good. Thank you. Thank you for making the time to be here this evening with us. I appreciate it. I shared with you this morning the anxiety that I had, just wanted to make sure that everything's dialed in. I know that you're in a very secluded area too, so internet could be one of those hit or miss. So we were able to make it work. And again, thank you very much for being here this evening.
Man, I can't imagine you being in the back room getting ready to walk out to a big mega event with 22,000 fans.
Oh man, I that's got to be an exhilarating feeling. I know you've done it many times. So and I want to dive right into that and get started with, like, what got you into boxing? Why that? And share with us the stories, some of the stories, and we'll break it down.
Well, I got into boxing because my father was a boxer. My grandfather, I'm actually named after my grandfather, Robert Guerrero, who was a boxer when he was young. Unfortunately, he had 12 kids, so he had to go straight to work, to provide for them. So he didn't have that opportunity to take on a professional career. But my father was a boxer. All my brothers started boxing. My brother Ruben, my brother Victor, my brother Sammy, they all boxed. And just following them to the gym with my father, it's one of those things. It's like a family tradition. So is it 6 of you? Because I was doing the count. It's 6 brothers, right? Yeah, there's 6 of us.
Man,
6 brothers.
And are you the youngest? Or are you?
No, I'm the 4th, and I got 2 younger.
The 4th. Yeah. All right, so you're almost in the you're in between the middle. So you probably got picked on by your older ones, and then you got to pick on the younger ones, or they can all tag team and jump on you, man. So
yeah, we're just lucky we didn't have a sister between me and my other brother, because then that'd be the middle child, and tough luck for that guy.
Yeah, no, I couldn't, or having a younger sister with 5 brothers, that would have been bananas for her, not for you guys. So, hello.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna get a delay sometime. So if it goes silent, man, we just gotta. It's technology, man. We're still trying to dial this in. So let me ask you. We talked earlier today, and we had a pretty great. I had a great conversation with you, man. Part of the show, and the reason why I've done this, is because I like to share my entrepreneur experiences in life, and also bring other guests that we get to share their life experiences. And boxing is just it's not a sport; it's a business as well. And we got a chance to talk about that earlier today. And you had a lot of great knowledge that you were sharing. Share with us, boxing and the ramping up and getting to the point to where you have been and where you're going to go in the future.
Like I told you earlier, Mauricio, boxing is like no other sport. I mean, it's not like baseball, football, basketball, anything like that, because anytime you sign to a team, you're signing into a franchise. So now you look at Patrick Mahomes, who's signed to the Kansas City Chiefs as their quarterback. He signed into the Kansas City Chiefs. So once he's gone, they bring another quarterback into the Kansas City Chiefs. But the thing with boxing is, as soon as you turn professional, you're your own franchise. There's only one Robert Guerrero out there. There's only one Jesse James Guerrero, my little nephew, who just turned pro at 16 years old. So,
man, and he's gonna be lethal, man. I gotta tell you, when he hits that bag, I can feel it in my ribs. I'm like, ouch, man, and I could just feel the vibration and hear the snap. So, and we'll talk about him. So, in his future.
It's funny. Quick little story is when everybody's in the gym sparring and he's hitting the bag, it gets silent and everybody turns around and looks, and it's the littlest guy in the gym thumping the hell out of the bag.
Oh, man, you wouldn't even imagine that kind of power and that snap coming out of the skinny kid. I mean, like, he's like a little toothpick, but and he looks so innocent. But hey, all I got to say is that his opponents are gonna definitely feel the wrath. So.
Oh, they already are. Believe me. And he just reminds me of a Major League Baseball pitcher where they look like a little skinny guy but throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's right.
But,
so share with us, about the business, yeah.
Yeah, diving into it, like I said, there's only one Robert Guerrero, and now I got to build that franchise. It's straight business. You got to be able to market yourself. You got to put yourself out there. You got to do the interviews, and a lot of times, coming from a small town like me, Gilroy, California, born and raised there, turning professional and not going to the Olympics or anything like that. You're doing everything through a grassroots effort. You're getting out there. You're doing every interview you can possibly do. You're doing school papers if you're getting your name out there, no matter what it is. But it comes down to how much you want it, how hard you work. Getting to the top, it's a journey. It's a journey like any business. It's going to take 5 to 10 years to see big progress, and that's the same way with boxing. You got to work your way, build your way through the rankings, build your way through the top, and the one thing is making sure you have that airtime on TV because, out of sight, out of mind. If you ain't got that TV time, nobody knows who you are. So, that's one of the main things. And, I was fortunate to work hard and get there. But it comes down to having that right team behind you. And my father, my father.
We talked about that earlier today. We're only as good as our team, and we talked. You made a great example earlier today. We talked about Tom Brady. Tom Brady. Everyone says that Tom Brady is Tom Brady, but really, and that it's his team. But really, you had a great analogy of saying that Tom Brady he's got to be moving and concentrating on all different moments because he's being attacked, just like in fighting or in boxing. You gave a great analogy, man. You're getting hit constantly because somebody wants to take you out, and you got to be focused and keep your cool at all time.
Exactly. You got to have that concentration, that focus. You got to make sure you're executing your game plan while you're getting punched, and being able to think in there. Like I was telling you earlier, Mauricio, it's one of those things where people think it's get in there and rock'em sock'em robots and beat each other up, which it's not. Because I can tell you,
like
anybody
MMA, though.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that has, a tough job, that has to be there thinking and constantly working on what they got to do to get the job done. Now add the factor in of somebody beating you up while you're doing it. It changes It changes the whole perspective of things. And to keep your cool, I mean, guys get headbutt, guys get cut, they get elbowed, low blows, you break a hand, something. You got to still be able to overcome and mentally be strong and get through. And I mean, that's the way it is in any business, though. And that, you're businessman yourself, being an entrepreneur. Yeah. Who's the last one to wake? Who's the first one to wake up and the last one to go to sleep?
Absolutely. And that's why it was important. And I thought that it makes a lot of sense to have you here on the show, not just because you're an athlete, world-renowned athlete, but it's the importance of also knowing that you're running a business. And just like any business, once you get to a certain level, you get the crosshairs are on you because people want to be they want to either be where you're at and or surpass you. And just like business, the kind of business that I'm in, or different businesses, once you become successful, you become the next target. And that's in part of your business. You got to also figure out what opponents, so that you can scale up, so that you can get to these titles, to these championship fights. And you know, I know that you've had a lot of very famous fights and share with us some of your experiences in some of those fights.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I've been to the heights of boxing. I mean, you can't even get no higher. You know,
you've been also robbed by you've been robbed by in some of these.
Yeah, you know, being in there with you know, the likes of Floyd Mayweather Jr., who's arguably one of the best fighters in the history of boxing. And, you know, being in there with Danny Garcia, being in there with Keith Thurman, you know, kicking off, you know, one of the biggest honors of my career also, too, was being selected by PBC and Fox to be able to kick off the PBC program. You know, they had the idea to kick it off on network TV, but they were kind of shady on shaky on who they were going to go with to kick it off. And, you know, analyzing all the fighters that are in the stable, in the PBC stable, they come to Robert Guerrero and say, hey, you know what? I think this is the guy that's going to bring the biggest ratings and the biggest numbers and the most exciting fights. So let's put him as our very first main event to kick off the whole series. That's what they did, and sure enough, I mean, they till this day, I mean, it's one of the highest rated fights on network TV.
Hey man, well, you're not too shabby, man. You're a good-looking cat too. You know, you gotta. Hey, it all sells. The package all has to come together, and not only from personality, from charisma, from all of it. I mean, you know, and passion. And, you know, all I've heard, the stories that I've heard and everything that I've heard to this day, and I told you I was doing a lot of study before we spoke tonight and today. You know, I wanted to make sure that I understood, you know, the personality and the person, you know, and I know that we've crossed paths many times. You know, I got to thank you, by the way. I'm sure you remember, but back in 2014 when I ran for council, for San Jose City Council, I had you came as a guest. You also supported while I ran for San Jose City Council, and we also had Carlos Santana, Salvador Santana, who was a guest who performed. And I just want to say thank you for that time. I mean, I know it's been years, you know, 6-7 years ago, but to see that we're still here today and we're moving forward and we're not done. We're fighters, man. We're fighters in different arenas, but we're always going to continue to move forward. And you know, I think that the best times for me have been moments of when I've lost. And I know I looked at your record. Share with us, you know, those moments of victory, but share with us those moments where you did lose a fight. I mean, what was the lesson from there?
You know, I mean, I've had a lot of close fights. You know, as a young kid, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's always got on us. We'll go as a team to go fight, and if one of us lost, we all got ripped, and we all heard it for like 2-3 hours on the way home. And it wasn't so much that one of us lost or whoever lost. It was more of letting us know the reason why we lost. Not getting it, not working hard, not going out there and doing the running we're supposed to be doing, fooling around in the gym, not doing the push-ups we had to do, you know, just jerking around in there. And a lot of times there were guys that we knew we can beat easy and we took light and we end up losing to them. And, you know, that's one of the things is, you know, when you lose a big fight and it's really close, you lost by a round or a point or, you know, just something, you know, a bad call or whatever, you know, you sit back and you learn from it. You analyze it. But the one thing you got to be is you got to be resilient. And a lot of people are not resilient these days. You got to be resilient. You got to be able to overcome. You got to be able to come back and be all you can be better. And that's what I've always learned, because my father's always not just schooled me on discipline, but schooled me on what I need to know. And the one thing that my father taught us all the time was, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Ooh, You
And
go to your mother. You go to your mother for that.
and my father was no joke. Anytime he grinded us, he worked us hard, and there was always a reason why. You know, my condolences to Marvin Hagler. You know, just passed away,
Yeah.
and his family. You know, rest in peace to him. But my father used to watch him when he was a fighter, and it used to be. My dad told us every single day, 500 in the morning, 500 at night before you go to bed. Push-ups he's talking about.
Ouch.
And he's all, that's what Marvin Hagler did. 500 in the morning, 500 at night. And that's what we used to do. I mean, it kept us strong. You know, we were really strong. We hit hard. We were fast. So we used to do a lot of pushes. My dad had us doing that. And just that inspiration from Marvin Hagler, you know, the position he was, telling my dad, you know, my dad watching him and him talking about that. So then, funny story is, I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame with Marvin Hagler, and I tell him, man, my dad used to tell us all the time, 500 in the morning, 500 at night. He looked at me with this funny face, like, what are you talking about? I go, my dad said you used to do 500 push-ups in the morning, 500 at night. And he looks at me and just laughed like the way you did right now. Start laughing.
Yeah.
And I go, what are you laughing about? He goes, I hardly even did push-ups.
Oh, my.
And I'm like, man, we lived off that our whole amateur career, professional career. But he goes, well, you know what? All it takes is one thing you say that can change the outcome of somebody's life. And your father heard me say that one time, and I don't remember when I said it, but when I said it, he took that to heart, and look at where it got you, son. You're a 6-time world champion right now, sitting right next to me. And I was just like, wow. Threw me back, and you know, it makes you step back and look at the bigger picture, where, you know, not everything's about you. You know how hard you work, how much time you put in, everything. It comes with a responsibility.
Absolutely.
And that responsibility to, you know, younger generations, people that are watching you, because it just takes 500 in the morning, 500 at night to change somebody's whole career. Imagine if I didn't do that. I mean, I probably wouldn't be as strong as I was, you know?
It was just even the mindset, the thought process, I mean, we also touched, you know, right now, the way that this generation and this society is right now. We talked about the participation trophies this morning. It's an unfortunate situation because you can work your ass off and win the world championship, whatever sport it may be, and in the younger, obviously we're talking about the young generation or in the younger tiers of age group, the loser gets a participation trophy, and I've never been for that. I've actually, in my mind, whenever I got a participation trophy, if it wasn't first place, I threw it away. I literally, that's just the way it was ingrained in me. I just threw it away or threw it in the box. Because second place, anything if it wasn't first place, it just wasn't nothing to be proud about. Yeah, I'm in the game and I participated, but that to me is just not in my DNA. And in business, we're in it to win it. And there'll be times where we're not going to win, and all we can do is just be resilient. Again, we have to pick ourselves back up and get back at it again. And you know, for me, I have high goals and expectations, and I know that you, as an athlete, you have to live on that. I mean, there is no, if you go on a losing streak, you're out. TV has no interest in working with a loser or working with somebody that's no, it's the truth. You know, no sport teams that loses sells tickets. I mean, we've seen it. You know. When the Warriors are off the charts, they're sold out. Tickets are $500 just for the nosebleeds, and when they're losing, they can't even give away the tickets to go in there. So,
yeah, I mean, exactly, and you know, those participation trophies, you know, they're within good intentions, but to me, it's teaching that kid not to be resilient. Like, just for participating, you're going to get taken care of. And that's not the way life runs. You know, when you get older, you know, boxing, they don't have a world championship title for second place, you know? So, you know,
can you imagine that? And thank you for participating tonight and getting your ass whooped. Here's also a trophy for you while the other guy gets the belt. And of course, he gets all the money.
The check's nice, but you still want to win. but at the same time, it's teaching these kids how to be resilient, how to bounce back and work hard, how to grind, how to go through stuff and get through it. And now these days, I mean, it's the generations as it goes on. It's everything just it's cancel culture. You got this, you got that. And there's just so much involved where for young businessmen that are trying to come up as entrepreneurs or young capitalists, it's one of those things that they need. They need to get up in the morning, work.
Yeah.
Go to sleep, work while you sleep. And that's the way life is in the business world, and that's the way it is in boxing. I mean, part of my job as a professional fighter is not just to go to the gym and beat up the bags, spar, do all the 3 hours of just constantly just going to town. It's also making sure I run, making sure I'm eating the right proper foods, and then also too in between that, making sure that I get that rest that I need, because your body does need rest.
That's right.
In order for in my business as a fighter, your body needs the rest for performance. So you need that rest. But when I leave to a training camp, it's just straight business. Eat, sleep, and shit boxing. And it's true.
That's it.
That's the way the ball rolls every day, day in and day out. So you're 100% prepared. But when you walk into that ring, no stone is unturned. You're ready to go.
That's right.
And I like to tell a lot of young kids this is, don't ever waste your time. Because every second, especially in boxing world, every second, every minute, every hour that you have leading up to that fight, you never get it back when it passes. So you take advantage of every second of that day, because when it comes down to it, you don't want that in the back of your head when you're in that ring, like, man, did I do everything I had to do? I don't know. It seems like I didn't run that much. Because what happens is when you're getting ready for punishment and to go to war, there's so many things running through your mind, your game plan. You're thinking, man, did I do everything? Did I cover everything? Did I have the right sparring? You're in there with another killer, the best of the best, especially when you get to that elite level. What separates you guys are here. What separates you here is game plans, who's in better shape, who took it more serious, and who can stay focused and stay on their game plan.
Yeah, and that's not by a lot of degree either. That could be 1 to 2% just in mindset that sets the difference between the loser and the winner. It just you can't go in there unprepared, and just like in business, just take the business side of boxing. You can't go and sit at a table and not cover all your bases and leave something unturned, because then you're going to leave some money on the table. There's going to be some deal that's going to be left on the table that you're going to be like, damn, did I just – and then that also will mess with your mindset as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could capitalize on. And being really business savvy is what you got to be. But you don't become business savvy if you're not resilient. Yeah. And you got to be resilient. You got to be able to fail. And you can't be scared to fail. A lot of people are scared to fail. Like, what about this? What if this happens? But you're never going to know if you don't try.
That's right.
And
That's right.
there can be, I mean, there's numbers of businesses, a lot of businesses that have launched and failed.
That's right.
But you can see that guy in a different business excelling because he learned from the failed business over here what not to do. So, there's just so many attributes you can take out from a loss. But if you get a participation trophy, you say, well, I'm going to get a trophy anyway. Thank you. I'm not even going to try. Yeah. That's never should be your mindset. Your mindset should be go get it. Grind. Yeah. Let's work hard. Let's take advantage. Because I look at America as the greatest nation in the world. Anybody can come here and become a billionaire, a millionaire, a multimillionaire from nothing. I mean,
It's been proven. It's been proven.
For instance, myself, I come from a farm working family. That's the reason why you see that flag back there. I have one that flies over. I have one that flies over my roof in my garage so everybody can see it. Because my family comes from farm working. My grandfather was a farmer. My father was a farmer. But that being said, I've seen what they've gone through. I've been in the fields helping my grandmother pack chili and stuff like that when my brothers were packing and picking and carrying buckets and stuff like that. My grandfather running the tractor, my dad working. It really opened my eyes like, hey, you know what? They're working to better my life. Now, I bettered my life, my family's life. We did something in boxing. We became, Guerrero family in boxing. We established our name in the boxing world and won world championships. My father has his gym. My everything just, it bounced, and we worked hard, and we went and got it. But now my children, now I got to be a little harder on them because now it's easier for them. They have what I need. I provide them with what they need. So now a lot of people, they'll look at like, oh, well, you come from this, you come from that. But with my children, I'm a lot more harder on my children because I know what it takes to become successful. I know what it takes, how much work you need. Like my son, he's 14 years old and he wants to be a professional boxer too. He's probably the hardest kid I'm on because I know what it takes. I know where I've been. I know the road. I know everything. You can put something in front of somebody. Like they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Nope.
And that's where you gotta thrive. It is when you better yourself and you put yourself in that better position. Now it's time to show your kids, not just go, oh, you know what? I did great. My son, little Jimmy over here, little Robert's he's doing good. Give him a participation trophy. No, I get that participation trophy and go, what's this? Man, you need to work harder, bro.
Yeah. Throw it away.
Oh yeah. Line it up with the big gun.
That can be a representation. And Robert, you're absolutely right, man. In business, there's been I've shared in the past, people only see the glitz and the glamour or the highlights. They don't see behind the scenes. I mean, I got perfect example last night. We got a couple of very large deals that are happening right now, and it was one of those where I go to bed and I can't even shut my brain off as much as I'm trying to shut my brain off, and I go into a deep, which I call, it was like a couple hour nap because I wake up at 3:30 in the morning. And I start thinking, and I can't go back to sleep. And I know that in 2.5 hours I got to get up because I go every morning to the gym in Gilroy. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's just I just never stop. I'm always strategizing in my mind because I want to always excel. And I'm doing it not just for myself. You said something earlier. It's not about us. It's about also our team and others that are around us. So I'm thinking of, I got a lot of people that are depending on me. I got 50 plus employees in one of my businesses, and 50 plus employees, their families depend on them. And if you trickle it, I mean, it's about times 4 for each person. It adds up. So there's a lot of responsibility that falls on the owner or the entrepreneur's shoulders. There's a lot of responsibilities that fall on your shoulders when you're putting a plan together. Your family depends on you. Your children will depend on you. The people that you work with will depend on you, because at the end of the day, too, let's keep it real. If you don't sell tickets or if you don't sell pay-per-view, there's no paycheck. There's no paycheck.
Exactly. And if you can't put those butts in the seats or in front of the TV, it don't matter. And that's why you got to take advantage of every opportunity that comes your way. Right. And I look at opportunities as blessings. Because I'm a big believer in God, and I put God first all the time, and everything you got to look at is a blessing, whether it's good or bad. It's how you take it. I mean, you can be not resilient and take something bad and just let it tear you down. And
it comes down to mindset, though, Robert. I mean,
exactly.
you've I want to bring it up because I want to know the mindset, because you still have a future ahead of you. You still have fights that are you're working on fights, and we'd like to hear about that. But let's go back to a specific fight. Let's go to the Mayweather fight. You went 12 rounds with this dude. You in my mind, I watched the fight. You won the fight, and at the end, they do a split decision, and they give it to. I mean, like, what the? I'm like, really? Like, I'm not trying to pour salt on the wound here, but it's a reminder. You're coming up. You're going to be fighting again soon, and you're training. You're mentally preparing. That's got to be a learning lesson, and it's also got to be fuel for your future, because your legacy is you're now working on your legacy, right? I mean, this is where you go next. This is the next level for you. Hall of Fame. You're a future Hall of Famer. Robert the Ghost Guerrero will be in the Hall of Fame, the Boxing Hall of Fame. Bottom line.
Oh, definitely, I'm on my way there. And it's one of those things where you step back, like I said before. You got to step back, 2 steps back, and look at the bigger picture.
Yes.
And going into a Mayweather fight, there's a lot of stuff you got to prepare for. And this is one thing that I'll never forget Mayweather told me. When we were met up first time face to face, he goes, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Of course I'm ready. I'm a world champion. I won 3 world championships, 4 world championships already. I'm ready to go, man. What more do I need? Let's do this."
Let's already whoop some
ass.
And
he goes, "No." And he tells me like this, "No, are you ready?" And in my mind, I'm thinking, "Yeah, I'm ready to fight right now. Let's go. Let's do it right here if you want. I'm ready to go."
He got deep in your head.
But when I step back and I look at it, I'm looking at it, and he didn't mean, am I ready for the fight? Because all of us fighters are ready for fights, especially when we're in that championship level. What it was is he was asking me, are you ready for what comes with the fight? Media tour, the fame of everybody knowing you, knowing who you are.
Yes.
Just coming at you left and right. Autographs here, there, pictures here. Flying to different cities.
Wow.
To go do media stuff. And that's what he was talking about, the whole circus. Are you ready for that? And it's one of those lessons to be learned. Like, hey, you know what?
Wow.
I thought I was ready. I was ready to fight.
Right. But
I don't think I was ready for that type of media attention. Right. I mean, you're on the biggest stage. You're in a Mayweather fight. It's like watching the World Cup soccer game, the championship game. That's what it's like, because everybody around the world, all eyes are on you.
That's right.
And
the Super Bowl. That was the Super Bowl fight. That's
exactly
the Super Bowl. Yeah,
and
the Super Bowl.
And when I've seen fighters after me in there, I can just imagine the same thing. They're ready to go. Canelo Alvarez was ready to go. All the guys that he fought, Marcos Maidana, McGregor, all of them were ready to fight.
Yeah.
But they weren't ready for that type of event.
Right.
Which Mayweather's been doing that type of event forever. So, that's the type of things you take away from fights like that, because when you can fight, you can fight. You work on your skills. There's adjustments you got to make. Like before I came back for this second half of my career, I really had to take some time off, assess myself, look at all my fights. And I looked at a lot of my fights. My dad goes, you need to watch your fights, because you're tending to get away from not listening to what we tell you in the corner. So I'm sitting there watching all my fights from the past couple of years. And I mean, it's just looking at it, it was exactly what he told me. Exactly what he told me. I'm like, man, I can see it right clear. Yeah. I didn't listen to anything you said. I was doing this and doing that. I need to get back on my game. I need to get back to what got me there. I turned into the type of guy during a fight where I just wanted to go head on. Let's go. Let's see how much how much you got. Let's see what you can do. Let's go all out and let's see who's gonna be last man standing. Whether you run from me or I'm gonna chase you down. And I got away from my skills, my boxing skills, my toes. You know, I got away from the reason why they call me the Ghost. And you know, sitting down with
gone there. Why do they call you the Ghost? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah. So to finish the story real quick.
Yeah.
I you know, I told my dad, I sat down with my team and I told them all, I go, hey, you know what? If we're going to do this, I got to get back to what you're on. They're like, exactly what we've been telling you. Exactly what we've been telling you. You need to get back to your boxing. Work behind your jab, use your skills, use your legs. You got incredible. When you're on your boxing game, you're untouchable. And I'm like, I agree. Now let's get to work. So that's what I've been working on a lot. So, and the name, the Ghost, I got the Ghost when I was 9 years old, little guy in the gym. I'll be in there sparring, and I was so fast with my footwork, with side steps, hand speed, that I would just nail on a kid and I'll be gone. By the time he turns, I'll nail on him again, I'll be gone. Nail on him again, I'm gone. And then I go back to the corner, and they go back to the corner. They're like, hey, you got to do this. He's like, I can't hit him. He's like a ghost. I don't see him. He hits me, and I don't even see where he's at. After that, everybody just started calling me the Ghost in the gym. So it is stuck, man. But
that's a great story. Man, that's gotta. I gotta tell you, man. It's a lot of your experience and what you've done in your career. I could relate to, and I know a lot of other business people can relate to, especially because business is competitive. We're playing with numbers at high frequencies. We're always strategizing. It's always a strategy, and one of the things that you says really resonates with me. I shared with you earlier this morning that you know, at 15 years old I started my first business. At 25 I made my first million. At 28, multimillionaire. It's all new money. I mean, I think the ride is forever. 2008 came. I thought I was prepared, but I had already lost myself because I got lost in the sauce, man. Meaning that I was living the life of excess, man. I had the hottest nightclub in Silicon Valley. I had all the toys. I had the living, but I lost the connection of how I got there. And for me, obviously, 2008 wiped out a lot of people and got affected by it. It just wiped me out to the point where I was homeless. I was homeless for about 2 to 3 years, and couch surfing. And finally, I had to really reflect on myself, and I had to really look back and look deep. And I think you understand that deepness when you look deep inside and you're like, you know what? I need to get back, and I need to connect wherever that separation happened. I need to reconnect myself and take myself to the point of why, when, and what was it that gave me that fuel, that energy to become the person that I became prior to all the successes, all the money, all the glitz and the glamour that came with it. Because when I was young, I fell in love with the business, not the glitz and the glamour, because what drove me was I didn't want to live in poverty anymore. I lived with a single mom with my younger sister. We lived in a small apartment infested with cockroaches. I mean, all of those experiences in life were the things that fueled me to never want to look that direction again. So I always wanted to look forward and be resilient and be very powerful internally. I shared with you the story about, me wanting to be a fighter, but I wasn't angry enough. And I thought in my mind that I had to be angry enough in order to be in the ring. And you taught me a very valuable lesson today by sharing with me that it's not about anger. It's about composure, keeping yourself together, your focus. And I told you, I was training at AKA. I was doing 3 years. Javier over at the gym when he was in San Jose off of Blossom Hill. I was training at his facility, and one weekend Jerome was my trainer, and I came in for the smokers, which is supposed to be light sparring, and smokers sounds like it's a little bit more than light sparring, and they put me in a ring with a woman. And, I'm thinking like, I'm going to be sensitive here. It's a woman. She looked badass. She had cornrows on her and came in and light sparring. And next thing I know, she lights me up. I mean, literally lights me up. So to a point where almost tears came out of my eyes. I was like, damn, did she just whoop my ass? Because now my ego's hurt. To the point where I ended up smacking her. Obviously, we're with gloves. But I realized that wasn't. I wasn't. I could see the anger and maybe the focus, the hunger that she had. It wasn't in me. I was just my career was ready to launch with the nightlife, with my first like official nightclub myself. And I just said, you know what? I'm a pretty boy. I don't want to break my nose. I was like, nah, I don't want none of that stuff to happen to me. And I stopped. From that point, though, I realized that I thought, again, perception versus the reality. I thought that I had to be angry in order to be a fighter. And we see a lot of angry fighters out there that, I mean, at least that's the perception, not the reality. Because you taught me something today. Focus, discipline, conditioning, mindset. Because you said something today. You're not an angry person. You're actually very happy when you're in the ring, but you're very focused, and you're focused on what? The mission, and the mission is to win and to stay within your game plan, which then runs parallel to business. I know what my mission is. I know what my target is. I know where I want to be, and I have to stick to the game plan and listen to my mentors, like your father and your coaches and people. If you listen to the game plan and you stick to it, then you will become successful, or at least you'll be going in that direction of success. So, am I right? I mean, it runs
definitely
parallel to where you're at in what you're doing, because, again, you're set. You have a couple more fights in you. I mean, I don't see
definitely.
you. I don't. You're still young.
You hit it right on. And whether it's business, whether it's anything in life, whatever you're gonna do, I mean, it's about composure, focus, and that drive. You got to have that drive behind you, because if you don't have drive and you don't have that focus, you're gonna derail. And I mean, it's one of the things that a lot of young kids need to be taught is that focus, that mental focus. Not just, it was like I was telling you, I was ready for that Mayweather fight, but the mental aspect of it, with everything that comes around with it, with the media and all the stuff, it starts to play with your mind a little bit. It takes you off of your game. And it's not so much it takes you off your fight game, but the mental aspect of it takes you off, because now you have to focus on interviews. You got to have to focus on this, how you carry yourself, all kinds of whole different things. And it plays with you a little bit where, you're ready to fight, but all this stuff that comes with it, you got to know how to just block out and stay on those tracks and don't derail.
Wow, that's amazing, man. And again, I value and appreciate the fact that you're sharing this with us and with everyone out there, because these are the facts. Work ethic is also a big key component. You can't teach work ethic. You either have it or you don't, and that's something that when you have it, it's because it's been built into you. There's a desire for more. Let me ask you, Robert, in your life, what do you consider your greatest professional and then personal victory?
I have to say, winning the world championship for the first time was my professional victory. Winning that world championship, because that first one is always the sweetest, because you've worked for that your whole life since you were a kid. I've been working for that since I was 6 years old, all the way up. I wanted to be a world champion, and that's one thing that a lot of people, How old were you when you won your world championship?
I was 21 years old. So from 6 years old to 21, 15 years.
Yep.
It took, and I know, and the reason why I want to point this out to the people is that from 6 to 21, 15 years, it took you hard work, which is going to go to what I know where you're going with this. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, a lot of young kids, young men, young women, when it comes down to it, all it takes is one thing said wrong to them that really derails them. And I've had a teacher tell me one time, you're going to be working at McDonald's, kid. But all it would have took was for me not to be resilient.
Yes.
And I go back to resilient all the time.
That's right.
to just say, hey, you know what? All right.
Mm-hmm.
You think so? I'm going to be able to own that McDonald's watch.
Ooh.
I'm going to work where I want to be able to own that McDonald's. And I'm going to bounce back, because it's like this. I was listening to my pastor last week, and this really hit me right in the forehead. He goes, you can have 20 people tell you, man, you look great. You look great. Wow. And then there's that one person that goes, man, what happened to you? Oh my gosh.
That's right. That's right.
And then it takes, and all those people that tell you that it was great, you just completely just went out the window, and all you can think about all day, all week is about that one comment that person said. What happened to you? Wow. Mm-hmm. And if you're not resilient, you look at it and go, shoot, nothing happened to me. I'm still trucking. You know, because a lot of people get manipulated right away by one word. All it takes is one word. And if you're not resilient and be able to bounce back and overcome, it doesn't work, because your feelings get hurt too quick. And when you have too much emotion and too much feelings into business or the fight game or anything like that, they don't go together. They're like oil and water. They're like oil and water. And when it comes to business and when it comes to the fight game and your career or whatever you're doing to get to the top, there's no room for that emotion and feelings. You got to work hard. You got to grind through. Right. Somebody tells you something, you shine it off, or you use it to add gasoline to that fire. It's going to fire your flame up to work even harder, to overcome.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of kids are not taught that. A lot of young kids. That's the reason why with my PR guy, Mario Serrano, we used to do all the high schools in San Jose and talk to all these kids. Mm-hmm. And we've always looked at it as, hey, you know what? You need to strike while the iron's hot. You got these big Mayweather fights, these world champion fights. You got that title around your waist. Hey, let's go talk to these kids. Let's go inspire them. Let's go guide them through. Let's tell them, hey, don't waste no time. Don't let nobody tell you can't do it.
Yep.
And it's 100% true. Don't let nobody tell you can't do it. Because the minute you have those hard feelings and start feeling and thinking about it is the minute that you're just going to start declining, because you're thinking so much about it and you lost focus on what you got to do. Yeah. So
we gotta have tough skin. We gotta have tough skin, man. It's believe me,
it's that resiliency.
That's right. That's right. I've been through it myself. I mean, I've shared with a friend of mine the other day. I'm like, growing up, I don't want to say that I've had a weight problem, but I've always been I always say thick-skinned, or and I remember one time it was a girl that I was dating at the time, and she came at me hard one time, and I thought I was sexy and all this good stuff, and she says, "Oh, you fat this and that," and I was kind of like, boom, I got domed by it, and I remember that it derailed me. I was like, why would I allow myself to get sensitive over that? But I've always been conscious of that, and that's what has always, even for me on a personal, I'm like, I've always said that one incident is what set me to always make sure that my health and that I was always fit, and that I've always wanted to stand out and be at the top of the game. Now, it might be a bad example, but I'm just saying all it takes is one example of that, and it could throw people's game off because it triggers them. So
yeah. And then the other life personal accomplishment that I've had is being a husband and a father. That's the biggest one. Man. Being a husband and a father, that's my biggest accomplishment I can ever have.
Yeah. And you have an amazing wife that has been supportive. I know you've been supportive with your wife, your children. I know that as far as your children has been very private, but I know that from what has been out there that you guys are an amazing couple and an amazing support team for each other.
Yeah, and you want to talk about resilience. She's a really resilient woman, and man, her bounce back from overcoming and beating cancer, getting a bone marrow transplant, being an advocate for the LLS. There's just so much she's done. Man, it's incredible. And I go like this to a lot of people, and they ask me all the time, man, how is it? You're in the ring and man, that's tough. I go, you want to know something? Since I was a kid, I've loved boxing. I've been to the heights of boxing. I'm still at the top of boxing. And man, I enjoy it and I appreciate it and I love every minute, because the fight that I seen my wife go through is a fight that you have to go through. I fight because I love it and it's what I love to do. It's my career. I make money doing it. But when you're fighting for your life, there's no choice. There's no choice. You got to fight. And that's why I take everything as a blessing. You know, seeing how resilient my wife was, how she overcome. I mean, I watch her walk into the doctor and they go, oh, we need to drill into your back. We need to suck bone marrow. We need to do this. We need to do that. And she just look at it. Let's do it. If I got to do it, let's do it. And I know me, I don't even like to get shots. It's like, I'm like, hey, hold on. Give me 5 minutes.
I'm the same way. I see needles or blood, I'm out.
I need to go to CVS aisle 5 to get me some man up pills, man. Hold on.
Oh man, wow.
But you know, it's one of those things where just being there, experiencing it inspires you and it strengthens you, and it strengthens your relationships, and it goes back to where I say you take those 2 steps back and you look at the bigger picture. Yes. And you know, there's just so much going on in our world right now, in our country, with politics, with cancel cultures, with racism, where this and that, where, you know, too many feelings are getting hurt and not enough resiliency and not enough grind. Yeah.
And we need to get back to some of that. We need to definitely, I think that we're going to start seeing a turn of that. There's too much extreme has gone to one side now, and we're going to be able to see that we're going to have to come back towards the middle now of this, because you're right. There's a lot of there is a lot of pain and hurt out there at this, and there might be rightful reasons for all of, you know, for the people feeling the way they are feeling, but we cannot allow that to victimize us or become a victim. We need to use that as a fuel to turn us around and to become resilient, to become strong, and to turn things around, because at the end of the day, no one's going to turn things around for us but ourselves. Bottom line, no one's going to win a fight for you but you, and no one's going to win a business deal but me. At the end of the day, we have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror, and we got to be able to say, did I give it my all? Did I give it my best? And was I fully prepared for what happened, you know, for whatever deal that I was? If not, the results are in the end. Whether you win the fight, whether I win the business deal, at the end, only we know if we were really prepared for whatever came ahead of us or in front of us.
Exactly. And you know, that's what I really feel that a lot of kids need to be taught in school now, is that mental toughness, that grit, that resiliency to bounce back from stuff like that.
That's right.
You know, there, like you said, you know, there is some stuff that needs to be addressed, but at the same time, don't let it victimize everybody or you know, yourself or whoever, because what happens is you just get left behind. When those resilient people stand up and they keep going, you get left behind.
Yeah.
And you know, if I stayed there going, oh man, I got robbed, man, I don't know how I lost this fight. What happened? Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, look at the round. I clearly won the round. He hit me with like 2 good punches and he won that round, or how the way they scored it, or you know, this judge is that guy's friend, or, you know, no matter what it is, or he hit me with the elbow and cut my eye, you know, that was cheating. You know, you just keep on trucking. You keep on trucking, and then you take that life lesson and you make yourself better and you become a stronger person in the direction you want to go.
That's right. Amen to that, man. And I agree 100%. Let me ask you, outside from boxing, what are some of your passions? And I know that I told you, you did ask how long this interview was going to be, and I told you, hey, it normally is about an hour, but there is no time limits here. And I love the story, and I love the fact that you're sharing. And we got a lot of people that are watching right now. We got 2 more questions along the way, you know. But outside of boxing, what are some of your passions?
My passions, building lowriders.
That's what I heard. Your brother was telling me. He goes, "We're gonna build you a lowrider." I'm like, "No, I'm not a lowrider guy. I grew up in that era, and I love them. I can appreciate them. little Maximus came to my office one day, and he brought that little lowrider, the remote control lowrider. That shit was off the hook. I was like, I almost wanted to be like the big kid that took his toy away because it was so cool. But I was like, oh man, this is really a cool toy. But
not just imagine having a life-size one.
Hey man, if you got a couple, I'm gonna have to come down and I just want to borrow it just to drive it. I mean, are you're from what I understand, I mean, you love to build cars.
Oh yeah, I love to build cars. I got a whole garage full of cars. My garage, actually, I designed it just so people have a man cave. I got a car cave. So I mean, I was never the type of guy that was into Lamborghinis, Ferraris, high end, supercars or stuff like that. I was always into muscle cars, lowriders, because my dad grew up a lowrider. My brother Ruben, when I was a kid, used to take me San Jose cruising all the time in his lowrider, and watching him build lowriders. It's one of those things like boxing. It's in the blood, it's in the DNA, it's in the genes, it's our heritage, and just sitting in the garage working on a car from taking a beat up junk, rusted, and chopping, cutting, welding. Because I mean, I love to weld and fabricate, and that's like for you, to get your mind off. You enjoy doing interviews and talking about life and talking about business with people and stuff like that. We were talking about that earlier. My getaway from my business is building cars, getting in that garage, grinding, cutting, welding, making stuff just look beautiful. And it's nice. It's nice to be able to have that side of that culture just ingrained in my DNA, to where it's a love. As much as I love boxing, I love building cars. And it's incredible. And just taking them out, for the first time, nice little cruise, the family, have a good time, roll to church. People seeing that lowrider that you hardly see, just candy paint just rolling down the road with flake just glimmering, hit the switch a little bit, lock it up. I mean, it's all fun, and it's incredible. And having my little nephew Jesse James and my son, are really hard into it right now. They're young entrepreneurs also. They just started their own little car club, their own little bike club, and their own little their little bike business. They're building custom lowrider bikes now and selling them. And these kids are turning bikes from, they're almost turning like a 75% profit on a bike. Doing the work themselves and building them. They're banking in a week for young kids $1,000 to build a bike, which is incredible.
And for a kid making $1,000, I got to tell you, I admire Jesse. I love Jesse, man. I mean, I've met him, and I really want to be a part of his success and really open up a lot of doors, whatever doors I can. My background, entertainment promoter since I was a kid. So any relationship, anything that I can do to help Jesse progress. Your son I've never met, or maybe in passing I have. I met Maximus. Ruben's got two amazing boys, man. They come in here, or Maximus comes into the office. I'll put him to work, and he does. He's just such a sweet soul. The fact that Jesse is following the DNA of the family, the Guerrero DNA, which is the fighting. It's amazing to see that his future has already been paved, but it only works if he goes after it and he does the work as well. Because you can only do we can only do so much, but it's got to be in the heart and soul of the person and the want, tener las ganas, to go after it and really make something out of it. So, and I see that. I mean, it's from your father down. Obviously, I've never met your grandfather, but I've been in the ring with your father, and he starts laughing because he'll have me work out, and I'm huffing and puffing, and he just starts laughing to just see how much. He goes, "You want to win? You want to be a champion? Then boom, you got to do this." And I'm out of there like, man, I don't got any more gas in me. And I'm like, this old man. I mean, in my mind, I'm like, this old man is like, he's like moving around, and I'm like, are you not tired? Like, it's just, it's in it.
Don't feel bad because he gets me like that too, huffing and puffing. Yeah, he's off the hook.
And
yeah, he gets me like that. he gets me like that too, where I'm out of gas sometimes, and his drive and his push. I mean, it rubbed off on us Guerrero boys, and just him paving that way of hard work for us.
That's awesome,
Showed us
man.
how to work hard.
What's next for you? What's next for the Ghost? What can we look out in the future for?
We're looking to lock in a fight in May, so hopefully it's around Cinco de Mayo. Uh, it's right now everything's up in the air, so we're just mapping out right now which way we're gonna go, because we're
And
rising back to the top, and we're within 2 fights of that world championship. You know, so it's exciting. It's exciting right now, and it feels like I'm 21 years old again, getting ready for that world championship.
well, it's good. I mean, and again, you're not, obviously you're not young like you were before, but you're not old where you're out of the out of that realm or that reach to that. So, how many more fights do you see yourself, in the next couple of years?
Maybe I say about like 5, 6 fights more
Okay.
around there. So, um, this whole COVID pandemic kind of threw everything at a standstill for boxing, and I mean everything. It was at a standstill for a moment, but
Yeah,
yeah.
because the world
So
stopped. Yeah.
so kind of right now it's just mapping out because so many fighters right now are trying to get back in the ring. There's so many TV dates. There's so many airtime. So right now we're working on the best fight and the best route to go. So like I said, we're about 1 or 2 fights away from that world championship fight again, and who knows? It can be a fight this fight, and then the next fight's for the world championship. So that's how close we are, and man, it's exciting. It's exciting, and I feel like this second chapter of my career is coming better than the first chapter because I'm coming in with a lot of experience.
Absolutely, and a lot of rest as well. A lot of rest and a
Definitely a
lot of
lot of
time.
rest.
A lot of time to reflect. I tell people, if you didn't take advantage of this downtime of COVID and really reflect and refine and recalibrate yourself, you are never going to see in your lifetime another break like this, period. Probably in another 100 years. It just seems like history repeats itself.
Yep.
But I truly believe in my heart of hearts that those of us that really recalibrated and refocused and really took advantage of this time where the world really slowed down and we had to really dig deep and really just, this is where you really see how tough you really are and how you're going to navigate, because if it wasn't a fight or a business deal, it was life that was whooping everyone's ass.
Oh,
And
definitely.
there was no time here to sit around and cry and be poor me, poor me. You had to get off your ass and you had to really get shit together and really find a way to make a way. And if you didn't make a way, you had to. I mean, you had to just. You have the amount of resiliency and the amount of mental toughness to get through what we've got through in the last year now, because we just passed the 1 year anniversary. Um, it's gonna be an interesting future. So, Robert, I don't
Yeah.
want to hold you up any longer, man. I know you got family, you got your children. By the way, you got a birthday coming up too, right? It's this
Yeah.
month. So happy early
27.
birthday, man. Yeah,
Thank you.
March 27th. Happy early birthday. I want to say that without you even knowing, I'm already part of the Guerrero family. It's Mejia Guerrero because of your brother. I love your brother's family to me. Your father, I respect them like family, and your nephews and your nieces, man. I embrace them all, and I'm very proud to be a part of the team in the sense that I'm training there at your gym or at your father's gym. Let's get that correct. Pound for pound. It
Yeah.
feels really good. When I jump in the ring, I think of the fact that a world champion has trained in this gym. So I play it in my head as if when I'm in there training, I'm training with the world champion. The energy is in there. And I mentally prepare myself so that the minute that I get home and get ready for business, I'm ready to take on the world. So I want you to know that the spirit that's in that building, man, it's in me every day when I get to work, man. And I really appreciate and respect your hard work ethics and your mindset where you're at. And with that said, I know that you're 2 fights away. Then if it's 2 fights or whatever it may be, to be another world champion and representing the Bay Area, Gilroy, your hometown. And the Guerrero family, man. So I really, again, thank you very much for your
That's
time
no
this
problem.
evening.
One last thing about mental state. I tell a lot of these kids that are in that ring, your mental toughness has a lot to do with everything, and how mentally strong you are will mentally help you overcome a lot of stuff. I always tell them, watch boxing matches. You watch the 12th round, you'll see those guys some of them are going hard, and some of them are surviving, hanging on for dear life. And then when that final bell rings, you look at that guy and he's like gassed out. And then as soon as that bell rings, you see him jumping from rope to rope, on top of the ropes, throwing his arms up, excited, because it was a mental block. It was a mental block. You had that energy the whole time. That last bell gave you that burst of energy to be like, I won, I did this, jump up there, over here, bounce rope to rope. But that last round, you were just hanging on for dear life. So it's a mental block that a lot of these young entrepreneurs and kids got to overcome. That mental block of being tired or not being able to overcome what's in front of you, because there's going to be obstacles that are going to be, you think you can't get through them. And that's because that mental block. And then when they get through it, and then they get through hard, and it's like, man, I thought I wasn't going to get through that. It's because you stayed mental tough and you kept grinding and grinding. A lot of people mentally break down. It's a mental breakdown for a lot of people. And for you being in that ring and you're huffing and puffing, wow, man, in the morning you're there doing, you're like, wow. But then when you leave that gym, you go get something to eat, something to drink, and you still got a whole day ahead of you of work.
That's right.
Brain busting, making sure everybody got something to do. But it was that mental block at that moment that you thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And that's what a lot of young high school, college, young little kids have, is that mental block. But they got to be able to overcome it. And that's what parents, teachers, mentors got to be able to do, is show them how to overcome, show them how to become better and stronger, encourage them, push them through. Don't feel sorry for them. Guide them through it. Hey, it's going to be tough, but you're going to get through it. And that's especially with what's going on right now. Kids not being able to be in school, the rate of suicides, the rate of spousal abuse, all kinds of stuff that's going on right now because of this pandemic being locked up. It's a mental thing, because you're mentally not over here at work or doing this. You're mentally enclosed. But if you can break out of that mental state of holding you back, skies are the limits, man. Yeah. Skies are the limits. And that's how you become great. If you want to become great, it's always getting past that mental block. That's what I've always done. I had that teacher tell me, you're going to be working at McDonald's. Oh, yeah, I'll be working at McDonald's, all right, as the owner.
That's right.
That's what I'm going to be able to do where I'm going. I'm going to be a world champion, and that's it.
That's right.
And when you declare it and you say, I'm going to be this, and I'm going to do it, and I don't care what it takes. This is what I'm going to do. And you go and take that and you declare that that's going to be yours. Nothing's going to stop you. Absolutely. The only one that's going to stop you is you here mentally.
That's right. That's right.
So
I get fired up, and this is just going to carry over. So Ruben, tomorrow morning you better get ready, because I'm bringing in the heat. That's all I got to say. Your brother's going to get the tail end of this one from me. And you're right. You're right, because you're absolutely right. When you're in there, you let your mind play tricks on you, and you gas yourself out. But as soon as the gym is over, all of a sudden you're like, whew, I got this. I'm ready to go. You're like, wait a minute, where was that energy that I needed to finish up strong, or at least think that I finish up strong, man. So a lot of great advice, a lot of great things you shared, and that was going to be my last questions was, what would you say to inspire all of our audiences that watching? And I think you hit the nail in the coffin, man, and delivered. So I want to thank you again, Robert, for taking the time out of your busy schedule and being here. I look forward to sharing some more experiences with you. I look forward to networking with you as well. Your brother mentioned that you've got a plethora of people and knowledge and things that could be beneficial to where we're going with the show and all different kinds of stuff, man. So I definitely want to see some collaboration. We got a lot of great things coming down the pipeline. We've teamed up with Punch King. We're going to be actually opening up a Punch King here in San Jose. Is going to be one of the first ones, and we'd love to have you as a guest. I know that we're going to be taking a couple of the demo bags down to Pound for Pound. We'd love, again, I don't know the rules and regulations of sponsorships or all this stuff, but definitely would love to have your participation in that. I know that we're definitely pushing it with Jesse, because Jesse's he's the up and coming champion, man. He's following the Guerrero footsteps that you've paved for the family. So we look forward to that, and definitely again, I appreciate your time, and God bless you and your family and your wife for being a strong partner, and for you being there as well for her. It's amazing. It's inspiring to me to see that, and especially when you have children and they're watching.
Definitely. One last thing is,
yes, sir.
You see that flag back there?
Yes.
That's what paved the road for my career. That's why it hangs there. One hangs above my house so everybody can see. Every time I wake up in the morning, that's where I know where I came from. And that's why I stay so humble, and I know where I came from. And man, it's an inspiration anytime I get up, because I know what it took to get to my position. It wasn't just myself, being good at boxing and working hard. It took that team, that family team, my father working, my grandfather working, getting him to a position that got me to a position that's going to get my nephew to a position, my son to a position. But it's all how you work and how you put in your time and what you're going to do, and stay mentally focused. So
absolutely.
I'll leave it as that. God bless everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Tune in May. I don't know the date yet, but it'll be out.
Around Cinco de Mayo.
I'm hoping Cinco de Mayo.
All right, man. Well, good. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you, Robert.
Yep, no problem.
Have a good one. Wow, what an amazing human being. And I want to reflect really quick on the Si Se Puede, or the Cesar Chavez flag that was behind him. I had the honor of being on the board for the Chavez Family Vision board, which was the family of Cesar Chavez. Rita Chavez was his sister, and I had the honor to be on that board and really make a difference. So I want to thank Robert the Ghost Guerrero for taking the time this evening and being here and sharing his life experience. It's an amazing story. We're all fighters. We just have to know what fight in life we're going to take, or what route in life we're going to take, and just know that nothing comes easy in life, and that we have to always fight for things. Nothing comes to us easy. So again, perfect example there. World-class athlete, 6-time world champion, 4 different divisions. I mean, you can have all the accolades in the world. If you don't have the resiliencies, the work ethic, then I don't know what to say. I'm without being so harsh, I there's a lot of beliefs, a lot of things that run parallel to what Robert shared tonight. And definitely for all the parents that are out there watching, if you have children, definitely encourage them, inspire them to do more in their lives, and to expect more in their lives, and to go after it, and to not expect less, because at the end, we only live once on this planet. Bottom line, that's the fact of the matter. We're only here once, and we better live it as to the fullest. And I don't want to even say as if it's our last. We got to live life to the fullest and go after it strong, hard, and do whatever it takes. So again, I want to thank everyone that watched tonight. There's a lot of great comments that I'll definitely, after the show, will start responding to people. I want to thank, again, Robert the Ghost Guerrero, world champion. Hopefully we get to see him again soon in the ring. And again, want to say thank you to everyone that has continued to support my show. Next week, I have an amazing guest and a future partner of us. We're going to be working together. Punch King. We got King Lay, who's going to be here. He's an entrepreneur. I had the honors of meeting him many years ago when there was and we're going to talk about it next week because this is true entrepreneurship here. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about when things fail, you pick yourself up and you move on to the next, and you keep trying. But King Lay, I met him back in 2008 or 09, around that time, where he owned a chain of outdoor vending, kind of like the hot dog stands, and they were actually hot dog stands. It was called What's Up Dog, and I thought the name was amazing. The concept was amazing. And during that time, I had a lot of great relationships here in San Jose. I wanted to own all the permits to put the What's Up Dog concept here in San Jose or in the Santa Clara County area. So that was an inspiration. And then by luck, one of our other partners, Gabe Scarpelli, who I'm working with, we're working on our gym together, who's going to be a guest the following week, brought in, and we had the opportunity to all meet here in the office. Henry Chu was in the office as well, and we got the energy, the synergies, everything that was going on here in the office was amazing. So those that know where the office is at, you guys are all welcome. Anyone is welcome to come here, as long as we're going to talk positive things, real business, and real opportunities. So again, next week, King Lay's going to be here, Punch King. And we're calling it a wrap. Thank you again. Don't forget, next Wednesday, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast.